Ron, I don't want to call these people. I'm scared to death. I might say something wrong. They might ask me a question I don't know the answer to. Whine, 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 whine. And I can tell you that's one of the biggest problems we have with people getting into real estate is getting them over the fear of talking to other people. Well, if you're going to raise money or you're going to buy houses, somebody's got to talk to people or you're not buying any houses. Okay. So, what would be a good time for you to get started getting over that fear? Because once you do, it'll change your conversation abilities for the rest of your life, and you'll get a whole lot more of what you're trying to get because of the words that come out of your mouth. I teach people in my Quick Start Real Estate School, give them a scripts, give them 14 mistakes people make on the telephone, like talk too fast, talk too much, you beg, you mumble, you teach and preach and do everything except get to the point, which are the big questions you need the answer to. And in case of real estate, it's if we can agree upon the rest of the terms, what would be the least you could take, John? Shut up. John, is that the best you can do? Let John make you an offer. We usually buy with nothing down, okay? Shut up. John will either say, okay, in which case you win. So don't yell out, you will. No, don't do that. And if he says, no, I need a down payment, then your next question is, well, we usually buy with nothing down. How close to nothing can you get? And watch them come down. And in fact, if they don't come down to where it makes reasonable sense to you, then there's no reason to go see the house. Okay. So if you don't get the right answers when you're asking these kind of questions, whether you're talking about a lender or you're talking about a seller, there's no sense in dealing with them. Okay. Quit crying over spilt milk, go milk another cow, and go kiss some more frogs. And pretty soon you're going to see some princes rise up. It ain't going to take very many people asking these questions. The last question is, well, what's the least you can take per month if it's free and clear? Or the last question is, assume you're okay if I just make up your payment, make your payments until you're paid off in the future. All of these are questions. We answer questions with questions. Now it's their turn to ask us questions, which we answer with questions, which we're going to get to here in our script here in a minute and in our FAQs, frequently asked questions. So here's what you do if the thought of talking to people just petrifies you to the point where you need pills. Whatever business you're going to be in for the rest of your life, there's going to be things that you don't want to do that have to be done, or you're not going to have a business. In houses, it's calling sellers. Can't talk to sellers, you're not going to have a business. And it's also generating leads. Don't generate leads, don't have a business. First of the 5 steps was locate prospects. No prospects, other 4 steps don't matter. I don't care what your business is. It's true in a restaurant. I've had 6 of them. Whatever your business is, whatever your product or service is, you got to first locate prospects. Then you got to pre-screen them. I let them pre-screen themselves by asking them a few well-crafted, well-written questions that they got to answer to me and make me an offer, like I just went over. Okay. So when I get in the habit of doing that, you watch how much more you get and how many more times you win. And it's worth your practicing. It's worth you mastering. But if you're not, you got to get somebody else to make the calls. So, and that's both in houses and private lending. Okay. So, we got description here that they can use. We've got to work on some break-in language because that's going to depend on what kind of relationship they have with you, whether they're your doctor or somebody you just know occasionally or whatever it is. And they got to ask the same questions that I just went over to find out if we have interest on the other side. Slightly adapt it. If you're getting somebody to do it for you, you're probably going to have to end the discussion. Well, listen, I'll have Ron call you. Sounds like you have interest. I'll let Ron call you and follow up and answer any of your questions. Not hard to do, especially your list is not going to be that long anyway. All right. So who? I like targeting servers in restaurants first. Go into restaurants and looking for people. I mean, I'm not looking right now, but back in the day, I used to do this all the time. I'd go into restaurants and I'd wait for people to give me really good service with a good attitude. And you might have to wait a while for that, but then I just simply ask them, hey, could you use a little bit of a part-time income without interfering with your job? Of course, they're all going to say, well, sure. What do you got in mind? Well, listen, I just need you to make a few phone calls to pre-screen prospects for me in a week's time. And, I'll pay you what you need for what time you put in. You probably aren't going to put in more than an hour a week or so. Or maybe you want to get them to make them all at one time, a couple hours a day or whatever they got available. And pay them whatever they want. Who cares? In fact, let's suppose you get a private lender. Pay them $500 or $1,000 if we actually get a private lender. And they get paid today. They fund the loan, right? In the meantime, pay them $15 an hour, $20 an hour. Who cares? These calls ain't going to take that long anyway. Again, they do it from their home. But you got to replace yourself if yourself is not going to make the calls. And then here's the thought. Suppose they call these people and suppose they're interested. Well, you still got to call them. You still got to talk to them. Right? So get over the fear and get on with it. There's nothing they can do to hurt you. There's nothing they could say to hurt you, and they're not going to do it anyway. You're dropping an opportunity in their lap to make some money for doing nothing. They need you 10 times more than you need them. You must adapt that attitude. You're not going to beg anybody for money. You're not going to chase them. They're either in or they're out, because pretty soon you should have all the money you need anyway, when you get 3 or 4 yeses. By the way, never just one. Do not stop with one. Worst number of business is one. Never one of anything, including private lenders. So you need to have several. And the way I used to do it, because I always had, I didn't have a ton of them. Looking back, I probably only had 6 or 7 of them on my list totally when I was lending other people money. Right? But say you get 3 or 4. Okay, you need to get each one of them a deal as fast as you possibly can to keep them in the loop and to find out if they're real. So that kind of forces you to go out and make all cash offers on jumpers, doesn't it?